The seventh day of the Amgen Tour of California, taking the rise from Santa Clarita to Pasadena, once down into Pasadena, 3 circuits of the city to complete the day of racing of 88 miles of 143 kilometers. As always, the sun was shining and the scenery up in them there hills was desolate.
Yes, through the Angeles forest. It took a long time for the first breakaway to form, 21 miles or 30 kilometers to be exact, but eventually 7 men broke clear and established a fine lead. No threat at all to the overall lead, though, of the yellow jersey, Bradley Wiggins.
So attack towards the end, Isaac Bolivar in the jersey on the right there, and this is Luis Lemus, the champion of Mexico, taking out the points at the top of the climb. Once at the high spot of the day, with the peloton trailing at just over 1 minute and 45 seconds. They will begin the long plunge down into the city of Pasadena. The breakaway split on the second climb of the day, with 4 riders going clear, led here by Isaac Bolivar.
Yes, but Team Cannondale had put the hammer down on the front end of the main field for one goal, and that was to dispatch Mark Cavendish off at the back end of the group, hopefully to set things up for Peter Sagan later on. Cavendish did manage to get himself into a chase breakaway group to try and catch back up to the main field, but he was left a long way behind.
Losing 2 minutes by the top of the climb, the Cavendish group was out for the rest of the day, while the 4 riders up front were being chased all of the way by the main peloton, led by those 4 Cannondale riders. They were riding for one reason: to catch the leaders and put their man Peter Sagan in a position where he could win his first stage of this week's race.
It was a serious demonstration of force by Team Cannondale, but they didn't count on 2 riders jumping out of the group on the run in towards the finish. Greg Van Avermaet, already riding well this season, the former American champion Ben King, but their advantage over the chasing group was not much more than 20 seconds.
Now they're on the circuits of 5 kilometers, covered 3 times. Meanwhile, on the other half of the circuit coming in was Mark Cavendish out of the hunt. Now the action, 1 lap to go, but somebody forgot to tell this rider, Eloy Terriel. He thought he was racing the last lap and he saluted the crowd, but then he realized the rest of the race weren't stopping. You could clearly hear the bell. 1 lap to go.
1 lap to go, 5 kilometers to go to the finish, and all of a sudden the Spanish rider realized he'd made a dramatic mistake, but no mistake when it came into the last 200 meters.
Peter Sagan coming off the wheel of Thor Hushovd, the champion of Norway. He had time to look over his shoulder. His 11th historic win in this series, but his first of the week. He consolidated his lead in the Visit California points competition, the green jersey, a competition he has won for the past 4 years. Peter Sagan was first, Hushovd was third, and the sprinter Danny van Poppel from the Netherlands in third.
Yes, but all of the riders high in the overall standings were given the same time as Peter Sagan, who showed us how good he can handle a bike in the finishing area, so there was no change in the overall classification.
On the podium, Van Poppel on the right, and Sagan taking the salute of the crowd, and a good return to form for the champion of Norway on the left there, Thor Hushovd, a man who's won 9 stages of the Tour de France. Overall, of course, there was no change, because all of the riders close to Bradley Wiggins finished with him in that chase field just on the tail of Peter Sagan. So the time gaps were conserved overnight. And now it was just 1 day to go. The riders moving off to Thousand Oaks, where there was a rather tough circuit race awaiting them. Overall, Wiggins has conserved all of his 30 seconds over Rowan Dennis of Garmin Sharp, 1:48 over Lawson Craddock, 2:02 over Machado, and 2:14 on Adam Yates. No change at all in the top 10. David de la Cruz from NetApp Endura in 10th place.